Good afternoon. It's Monday, the 22nd of December. I'm Erin Viner, and this is IBA News broadcasting from Jerusalem. We open with diplomatic developments and confirmation of reports that U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry tried but failed to persuade the Palestinians to hold back on submission of their statehood recognition proposal to the United Nations Security Council. Palestinian Authority Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki said that Kerry tried to make the case that this type of decision would have an impact on the upcoming Israeli elections, but that the PA was completely at odds with him over the matter. Maliki said that Kerry argued that the Security Council vote would negatively impact the outcome of Israel's balloting. He added that the Palestinian Authority will soon examine whether it can secure the 9 votes it needs to back the resolution at the UNSC, but stressed again that the vote will not be postponed until after the March elections. Senior Palestinian negotiator Saeb Erekat told Russian officials that the UN Security Council resolution will be ready for a vote within the next several days. Erekat met with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov today and offered the Palestinians thanks to Moscow for its overall support, and particularly at the UNSC. During his opening remarks at the meeting in the Russian capital, Lavrov said that his nation fully supports the lawful aspirations of the Palestinian people to finally obtain their statehood, and that the deadlock in the Middle East conflict is causing concern. On Friday, Lavrov noted that there's a question on how the peace process will develop in the future, adding that Russia is currently holding intensive contacts with both the Palestinians and the participants of the quartet of international mediators to understand how this situation may affect efforts to bring the peace process out of the deadlock that it was driven to this year. A new report released by the Litet Foundation today paints an even starker picture of poverty in Israel than the gloomy official report that was published last week. According to the charitable organization, 1/4 of the children whose parents receive financial assistance were reported as going to sleep hungry several times a month, and that 36% of those children were forced to work in order to help their families remain financially afloat. Former President Shimon Peres slammed the administration of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying that his government talks but doesn't act against poverty. The former president told Netanyahu that you cannot feed starving children and the elderly with statements to the media, adding that the latest report is a harsh indictment against us, calling on political factions to prioritize the poverty problem during the elections. Responding to those statements, the Prime Minister's Likud party released a fiery statement that the only talk is of baseless libels by leftists against Netanyahu and the Likud, and now, after the talk against Netanyahu, please tell us what actions you and the left did for the public. Former Yesha Council Chairman Dani Dayan, who recently joined the Habayit HaYehudi, also responded to Peres' comments, saying that this is a man whose budget for his 90th birthday celebrations that lasted for an entire year could have fed tens of thousands of hungry people, referring to the extravaganza held for Peres that cost a reported 2 million shekels. A Palestinian assailant was arrested by IDF soldiers at the Nitzanei Oz checkpoint this morning after he attempted to carry out a knife attack against a soldier. The suspect has been identified as a resident of Tulkarem who was overpowered by Kfir Brigade troops before he managed to cause injury. 11 Israelis have been killed in 5 separate Palestinian terror attacks over the past 2 months. There was a suspected murder-suicide in the city of Rishon LeZion this morning. The body of 44-year-old Gonia Mitiko was discovered at her apartment with multiple stab wounds to her upper torso. The body of her husband, Bakele, was found later in a nearby public park. The 49-year-old man is suspected of committing suicide after killing his wife. According to police, 2 of the couple's 5 children were at home during the murder. The family had no previous history of domestic violence, and there were also no prior complaints to either the police or social services. The Movement for Quality Government is demanding that Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon reinstate the deputy commander of the Givati Brigade's Tsabar Battalion, who was removed from his position after he reported his direct commanding officer, Lieutenant Liran Hashbi, for the alleged sexual harassment of a female subordinate. When Givati Brigade Commander Ofer Winter failed to pass on the complaint, the officer in question then reported it again to the head of the Southern Command, Major General Sami Turgeman. Winter denies allegations of trying to bury the incident. Hashbi has been the subject of a military police investigation for the past several weeks. He is denying the allegations and took a leave of absence after they first came to light. In his first public response to the case, Minister of Defense Yalon said that the IDF will carry out a thorough investigation of the incident. The Syrian army is claiming that it shot down an Israeli unmanned aerial vehicle over Quneitra in the Golan Heights. The small Skylark 1 was reportedly downed near the Druze village of Hada, which is controlled by the Syrian army. The UAV was described as bearing a sticker with Hebrew writing. According to the Syrians, the aircraft had a range of 20 kilometers and had been remotely piloted from a ground station. The IDF spokesman said that he has no knowledge of a missing IDF drone. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad held high-level meetings with Iranian parliamentary speaker Ali Larijani in Damascus. Larijani said he came to the Syrian capital in a show of support from the Islamic Republic, which has been the Assad regime's staunchest ally since the start of the civil war in 2011. Their discussions were expected to include the escalating role the Islamic State is taking in the area, as well as the recent military actions attributed to Israel, including the recent bombing raids in Syria. Earlier this month, Syria filed a complaint with the United Nations Security Council asking that sanctions be imposed against Israel for the alleged airstrikes near the Damascus International Airport and the town of Dimas near Lebanon. Israel has avoided taking sides in the Syrian conflict and refrains from publicly acknowledging any air raids. In the city of Dijon in eastern France, at least 13 people were wounded when an Islamic driver rammed his car into groups of pedestrians while screaming Allahu Akbar and that he was acting for the children of Palestine. 2 of the injured are in serious condition, and the assailant has been arrested. Police identified the suspect as an apparently unbalanced 40-year-old who has a history of mental illness. He was known to police for petty offenses dating back to the 1990s. The latest incident comes on the heels of the attack in Jules-les-Tours when an Islamic attacker was shot dead after attacking and seriously wounding 3 police officers with a knife. The dispute between the United States and North Korea over the Sony hacking scandal is heating up, with Pyongyang now threatening that there will be grave consequences if Washington refuses to conduct a joint investigation into the case and continues to accuse it of involvement. The cyber attack led Sony Pictures to cancel the release of The Interview, which is a comedy about the fictional assassination of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Private personal information, including email and other confidential details about Sony employees, unreleased films, and other sensitive information was illegally obtained by a hacker group calling itself the Guardians of Peace last month in a cyber attack that U.S. intelligence authorities believe was sponsored by the North Korean government. The rogue nation is also demanding an apology and warning that any proportional response promised by U.S. President Barack Obama will be met with the toughest counteraction. Pyongyang is accusing Washington of gangster-like behavior for recklessly circulating unsubstantiated rumors about its culpability and is angrily rejecting an FBI report placing blame on Pyongyang for what it says are intentional allegations rather than scientific evidence. Turning to New York, where residents of all faiths and races gathered to hold a vigil at the site where 2 police officers were shot to death a day before. Community and religious leaders paid tribute to the fallen officers and extended condolences to their families in speeches and in prayer. They also sang Christmas carols, lighted candles, and called for healing in the city, which has been racked by divisions over the July death of an unarmed black man by police last July. The scores who attended last night's rally denounced the murders of the officers by a man who appears to have posted angry anti-police statements on social media sites, and they appealed to the city's leaders and residents to work together to end the cycle of violence.
When you go back in your houses of worship, let's bring on a change. Let's start it tonight and bring on a change. We say no more. We say no more of these heinous crimes that are being carried out amongst our communities and amongst our NYPD throughout America. I say it again, we say no more.
We are a great community, and we do work together. And you do have good officers, you have great officers, like I said, you have great citizens. And that's what it meant to me, to see everyone out here together as a unit. No one is arguing, there's no disputes. This is how we're supposed to be. This is America, working together, the ultimate melting pot.
Turning now to sports and basketball, where European and Israeli champions Maccabi Tel Aviv are back with a vengeance. Maccabi won its 7th straight BSL game and strengthened its hold on first place, easily beating Hapoel Holon 100-87. Playing in Cholon, Maccabi came out strong and never looked back as the team led by 11 at the half and by 24 heading into the final quarter. Sylvain Landesberg excelled for Maccabi with 29 points with 7 threes from beyond the arch. He spoke with Israel Television sports reporter Leon Vildau.
29 points, 7 3-pointers. The rim looked big tonight.
Yeah, it's just continuous hard work. Staying in the gym extra, and my teammates just doing a really good job. Here, so full. Oh, I thought you. My teammates just doing a good job at finding me the ball when they see I'm getting going.
And second week in a row, you're MVP towards the top 16. It looks like you're becoming a major part in the team, unlike other times.
I don't know. I can't call it. I've said it before. Maccabi's a big club. We got a bunch of great players, and on any given night, it could be somebody else. And just these past 2 Israeli games, it was my night. So next game could be somebody else. Just keep working hard and keep playing the way we want to play.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Tourism to Bethlehem for the Christmas season is up some 10% so far compared with last year. Palestinian officials, however, say that the overall revenue has dropped and that the numbers are far below what they could be due to Israeli checkpoints and the security fence. They also place blame on Israel's control of the borders into the biblical town revered by Christians as the birthplace of Jesus.
For the last 2 years, there has been numerous studies done by whether the private sector or the public sector in Palestine and internationally on the potential of tourism in Palestine. And the figures are around $1.8 billion annually, while today we're doing between $400 to $500 million a year.
Bethlehem and Jerusalem were always twin cities, were always linked together. The first time and during the Israeli occupation, now Bethlehem is separated from Jerusalem, Jerusalem is separated from Bethlehem.
Israeli officials say that the fence checkpoints and all other measures the Palestinians are objecting to are necessary and provide Israel with security against terrorism coming from Palestinian areas. And with the countdown to Christmas just 3 days from now, today was Santa's opportunity to visit Jerusalem. A slimmed-down St. Nick came to the Jaffa Gate at the Old City to help distribute free Christmas trees provided by the City of Jerusalem and the Karen Kayemet Jewish National Fund. Even though the trees were a little small this year, local Christians, tourists, and even immigrants from lands where the Tannenbaum isn't even a tradition didn't seem to mind.
We wish the world, and especially in Jerusalem, peace and health and safety. And the reason for Christmas is the born of Jesus Christ. Merry Christmas. And we wait for this Christmas tree to be green and good and nice looking.
Now Christmas tree and we wait Christmas, Merry Christmas. I want to speak for all the people, the Holy Land and on the land. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I very hope, I very pray here, what in New Year we don't have war.
Some 1,500 Jewish worshippers packed Jacob's tomb in Nablus last night for prayer and a Hanukkah candle lighting service. 20 busloads of participants remained under IDF guard throughout the visit. It's been more than a month since Israelis were given permission from the army to enter the tomb, and the visitors were deeply saddened to find that during that time the site has been vandalized. The electrical system was damaged and light fixtures were smashed, leaving the tomb in total darkness. But the Hanukkah visitors brought the Festival of Lights with them as they retold the Hanukkah story and the rededication of the Second Temple by the Maccabees with the miracle of light after it had been desecrated by the Greek occupiers. In keeping with the spirit of the season, today is Mensch Day, sponsored by the Mensch Foundation, an organization that is dedicated to unifying Israeli society by promoting consideration, responsibility, and mutual respect all year round. Joining me here in the studio to discuss the organization is Dr. Moshe Kaplan. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone uses the word mensch, but I'm not certain that the true meaning is understood. How do you define the word?
Well, we define mensch as a person who does something which is appropriate for the occasion. That's the best way to
like a
describe
good
it.
human being. So women
Right.
can also be a mensch.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Now, I understand that you collaborate with several different partners across the social, political, and religious spectrum, and you offer a variety of programs. What can you tell us about these programs?
Well, basically, we run dialogue programs, which we have run successfully in Beit Shemesh, after the young girl got spit on a couple of years ago, and we trying to bring together different factions. We don't have any political or religious affiliation ourselves, but we try and bring together non-religious, more or less religious, and Haredim together in dialogue groups so that they can learn more about each other and break down some of the stereotypes so they can be more tolerant, more respectful of each other.
Now, our viewers were just looking at visuals of your special Mensch on the Bench Awards for outstanding Mensch-like performances this last year. Who are you honoring and why?
Well, we honored Neil Hoffman for Mensch of the Bench because it's an international prize that is being promoted throughout the world. And in Israel, we'll be awarding the Mensch of the Year award to Rami Levy for the kindness that he did to the families in Har Nof after the 4 families that suffered from their fathers getting killed.
That's really nice. It's very touching. Yeah, we're looking at that Mensch on a Bench. That's pretty cute. Okay, well, I think it's time to light our IBA Chanukiah. Would you do us the honors, Dr. Kaplan?
Okay, sure, happy to. And before I light, I'd like to have people that if they want
Let's
to...
turn this over here so they can hear you better.
Sure.
Yes.
That people should look at our website, viamensch.com.
I think we showed the website, if I'm not mistaken.
okay,
We put
good.
it up while you were talking.
Okay,
And
so
people
they
should
can-
take a look at
and
it.
then they can look at our book and see what we're trying to do here. Okay. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu halaknei shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavosenu b'yamim ha'em b'hazman hazeh.
Amen. Very nice.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for allowing us to say a little about our foundation today.
I'm sorry we don't have enough time. We'll invite you back for more next time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Here now is a fun Hanukkah song mashup and dance spectacular from the American city of Chicago, featuring Elliot Dvorin and the Key Tov Orchestra.
Put on your yarmulke, here comes Hanukkah. So much Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah. סוף 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 חנוכה הוא חג טוב, חנוכה הוא חג טוב, סביבון סוף 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 חג שמחה הוא לעם, נס גדול היה שם, נס גדול היה שם, חג שמחה הוא לעם. Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 canelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí, 8 canelas para mí. Oh, una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas. 8 candelas para mí, 8 candelas para mí.
Now taking a look at local finance, and the shekel today gained strength against all major foreign currencies, while share prices on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange were also up across the board. Here's a look at the mid-afternoon numbers. The IBA weather team is telling us to expect partly cloudy conditions and the chance of light isolated rain showers tomorrow morning. Here's the forecast at home and abroad for the next 24 hours. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Laura Cornfield will be at this desk tomorrow to help light the candles and to bring you the latest breaking news from Israel. We now leave you with more visuals from the Hanukkah Mash. I'm Erin Viner, wishing you a great evening, happy Hanukkah, and shalom from Jerusalem.
I flip my lockers in the air sometimes, saying, "Ayo, spin the dreidel." Just wanna celebrate for all 8 nights, singing, "Ayo, light the candle." We say, "Ma'osu, oh yeah, for all 8 nights." Then we play dreidel by the candlelight. And I told you once, now I told you twice, about the miracle of the candlelight. Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. Gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Silly won't to play with and latkes to eat. And while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. So put on your yarmulke, it's time to celebrate Hanukkah. I hope I'll get a harmonica on this lovely, lovely Hanukkah. So drink your gin and tonica, but don't sing Manish Tanaka if you really